Welcome, this is the build tutorial for my two-seater fighter jet, in which I teach how to modify JaxBek's single-seater fighter jet to evolve it into a two-seater fighter jet. If you haven't built that vehicle yet, I invite you to watch his tutorial and then come back here to continue. I normally build in my LEGO Fortnite sandbox world, thus I don't care for resources gathered. Keep this in mind if you build in survival mode. Follow carefully this detailed tutorial to pass from a single-seater fighter jet like this one, to a two-seater fighter jet like this other one. Now you'll be able to invite a friend to fly with you through your LEGO Fortnite world. Let's start. Warning. Even if you see that I am building this on a granite foundation base, don't do it. It is preferable that you do it on bare flat ground. I tell you this because I have noticed that when I build vehicles on granite foundation, the wheels and thrusters become useless when the vehicle lands on it after removing the car jack. I still don't know the reason, but then I am forced to lift the vehicle a little with the help of balloons and replace these parts with new ones to make it work again. Today I forgot this rule of thumb and then I had to face the consequences again. First, I wanted my plane to have higher resistance to drop damage, in case the balloons get popped for any reason. Note, this step is optional. If you don't want or need to do it, just skip to the next one. To do this, I changed all the floor pieces at the bottom from the original material, which was rustic thin floor, to ancient thin floor. Note that the position and dimensions are the same, the only thing that changed was the material. By destroying the parts that the wheels are attached to, they are also destroyed, so they must be reinstalled later. Don't forget to adjust the rotation of the two wheels on the right side again so that they rotate correctly, towards the front. Now, what we came for. We are going to make the adaptations to the cockpit to convert it into a two-seater. The adaptations that we are going to make affect only the upper front part of the jet, starting from the middle, so we need to destroy all the cockpit parts that already exist in this area. Be careful not to hit or destroy neither the wings, rear or bottom of the plane, nor the base of the vehicle, and much less the car jack because you would have to start from scratch again. Do not hit the pieces quickly with the pickaxe even if you are tempted to do so. It is safer to do it one by one, or hit them with bare fists. For the cockpit we are going to continue using the parts from the original design. We don't need to make it more resistant or anything like that, so the parts will continue to be wood thin floor and rustic thin floor. Pay close attention to details like the exact size and placement of the pieces because that will make a difference. For example, the short 6x2x1 wood thin floor now must be one stud behind its original position. Remember that you can adjust the speed of the video in YouTube using the settings button. Each side of the cockpit is made up of two levels. Pay attention to how you should place the pieces. This one is tricky. This 8x2x1 rustic thin floor will be the cockpit floor and must go exactly in the location shown. It must also be aligned with the front of the vehicle base single in order to assemble the rest of the cockpit correctly around it. This floor piece should not be exactly attached to the vehicle base single but rather a little higher. There must be a small vertical gap between them. Try to position it exactly as you see me doing here, turning the camera slightly upward and nudging the piece until it is aligned with the vehicle base single. For this don't use snap mode. You can make sure that it's well spaced vertically by checking later the positioning of the pieces from the side. The gap must be clearly visible. This step involves a lot of trial and error, so be very patient. Believe me, this positioning is fundamental. If you don't take this into account, you won't be able to fit the two seats, both aligned vertically and with enough room for them to be functional, no matter how hard you try. You must be especially careful with the spacing between the seats because even though they appear with the green position marker, if you install them too close together, when trying to use the co-pilot seat it will be impossible because it will be partially covered by the pilot seat back. It is important that the two seats are spaced by one stud so that both are functional, as shown in the reference model. Here we can see that the space between the two seats is indeed correct and therefore both can be used. Now let's resume the construction where we were going. We already have the cockpit floor installed. It's time to assemble the rest of the pieces around it. Now you can use the snap mode with peace of mind, because the reference we need to locate the pieces is the cockpit floor itself. Finally, with enough space, we can install the seats. For these side pieces remember that you must use the sides of the cockpit as a reference as you see it here, so that there is no unnecessary gap in that part. Make sure that the rustic thin floors are both at the same height. Finally, you can install the lights and make the last adjustments. Give the vehicle a complete check to make sure you haven't missed anything to install or configure. Verify the number of wheels, their directions of rotation, the number of thrusters, and the channel to which each one is tuned. When you are completely sure that everything is in order, you can remove the car jack. Now a test drive. To control the fighter jet, do the following. On the ground. To taxi, use the normal forward, reverse, and steering controls, but remember that, as it has balloons at the back, when going in reverse the tail will tend to rise a little from the ground, so do it slowly, especially if you are simultaneously steering to the sides. When going forward, the controls respond a little better to steering. On the air. To elevate, use channels 1 and 2 simultaneously. To move forward, use channel 3. To turn left, use channel 2. To turn right, use channel 1. To avoid accidents while you master driving your fighter jet, try not to advance simultaneously with another action such as elevating or turning. That's it. I hope you had fun and, most of all, that you learned as much as I did when I first built this vehicle. Enjoy and share.